friends. This is Coach Kiele with Fitter After 40. And I know, like, my mission here is to share openly with you and to also walk with you through the challenges that you may be facing right now in your 40s and beyond. So I want to share some of my story and my background with you, particularly where it pertains to my mom. She passed away when I was 12. And I share this because I know without a shadow of a doubt, it's where a lot of my strength and resilience and just the way that I look at and approach life comes from. And I just also, it's a struggle daily, yearly. It's been 34 years since she passed, and I still am working through this. I actually had a great coaching session on Monday, and today's Wednesday, so I've been processing it, but we worked through a lot of the grief because as a little girl with my dad, taking on the role of being a single parent and working full time, I never processed my grief. I never talked with anybody about it. I never had the opportunity to work through it. I just shoved it down and picked right up and kept on going. And, obviously it's not the best way to handle it, but I did the best that I could with the tools that I had. And that coaching session on Monday was amazing. So I'm very grateful for Stacy and Justin, my coaches, for doing the work that they do. And I've listened to Dr. John Deloney a lot, and he talks about having a backpack filled with rocks that you carry around from your past experiences and traumas. And man, at the end of that session, it felt like I finally took a really big, heavy backpack off. And I know it's not just this flip of a switch, but things are better. And as I go through my own personal challenges with health, whatever it may be, instead of, jumping to the worst case scenario, because that's been my experience up until this point, by and large, it's not, doesn't mean that's my story and my truth with my own personal health and journey. So overall, I'm incredibly healthy. And yeah, I tend to catastrophize things. And so my mom had ovarian cancer, and she ended up passing when I was 12. She was diagnosed with it and cervical cancer, not ovarian cancer, cervical cancer. But she was diagnosed with it and had it removed, and the doctors thought that they had gotten it. And, I don't know if she just didn't go in for a follow-up, if the follow-ups were too far between. But I remember driving down the road with her once. My brother and I were in the car, and she had an accident and was really distraught about it, as one would be. And went to the doctor and got it checked out, and not only had the cancer come back, but it was everywhere, and there was just nothing they could do about it. And so things went downhill really quickly with her, and she passed within a year of having found that out. So she passed. I actually went to school the day after she died, and that was my choice. I was given the opportunity to stay home, but I didn't. I don't know. I just, my dad wasn't talking about it. He was kind of moving on, and I thought going to school was going to be the best thing to do. And, obviously, hindsight, it wasn't. I should have had someone to talk with, and I just didn't know that's what I needed at the time. So, but, I feel like that experience has given me a really unique view of life. I'm incredibly grateful for growing old. Obviously there's challenges with it. I'm not going to pretend like it's all rosy and amazing, and, the hormone fluctuations, and sometimes my period just never ends, it seems. It's not fun, but I love it. I cherish it because it means I get to be here. And my mom didn't have that, so I'm really grateful for it. It's funny. So I have a note that I wrote here, kind of before I did the counseling session my view of everyone with cancer dies. So I'm just going to read it a little bit. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but excerpt from it. I said, okay, I realize that not everyone with cancer dies. In fact, my mom's best friend is still alive to this day. She had ovarian cancer and had to have her uterus removed because it was so filled with tumors. Her chances of survival weren't great, yet here she is, decades later, living a long and full life, and she has not had to deal with cancer since. But I do know all too well the stark reality of how deadly this disease can be. My mom was only 37 when she died. My dad fought cancer for 10 years and eventually ended up dying as well. He was 73. It's interesting. I realized a couple weeks ago in looking at my parents' death certificates that my mom was 37 and my dad was 73. It's really interesting. I told my brother that means that he and I are going to live to be 110, I think is the math on that. Yeah, 110. So we get the addition of those two numbers. But anyways, and I've known several people that have had cancer and died from it. And I've also known several people that have had cancer and it's gone into remission and have gone on to live their lives. As I mentioned previously, this was previously in a form that I had filled out. I know that my brain is trying to protect me. I jumped straight to the worst case scenario because that's what happened in my life. My mom got sick and she ended up dying. It was not just a probability, it was the reality. And I read a book once, I forget what it was called, Mothers or Daughters Without Mothers or something like that. And it was about women that lost their mothers when they were really young and grew up without mothers. And they made a really interesting point in it that when you're a child and the worst case scenario happens and becomes your reality, that's how you view the world. It's like, it's not the what if, and that could never happen. That's so crazy. It won't happen to me, but that's what happened. And so I've had to do a lot of work with my children. I was the mother that my son would go ride his bike in the neighborhood, out of sight, which I rode miles and miles in several neighborhoods over from where I lived, all by myself, no cell phone. But my son would go and ride his bike and I wouldn't know where he was at. And he'd be gone at a friend's house for most of the day. And panic would start to set in at one point as I started to think, okay, is he okay? Did he make it? Is he, did something happen? And it's like my brain goes to, that's the reality of the situation. And every time he's been totally fine. And it's learning to hold that, while yes, there is a worst case scenario, and yes, that does happen. In my instance, it happened with my mom. That doesn't mean that every situation in life is going to turn out into that worst case scenario. And, I've had to be careful and cautious on how I approach things because you end up just not living life. Like if you're always reacting to situations as though the worst case scenario is what could likely happen, and so you just don't let yourself, your family, your children do things and experience things and grow and have some freedom, you just end up not living life. And that's just not not really an option for me. So I've really had to work on and be conscious of, okay, when am I being dramatic and letting that fear take over, and when do I need to assess the situation? And there are times when I'm like, okay, that isn't great and we need to rein it in and put up some boundaries. So it's kind of that balance. So back to the letter, my worrying about getting cancer, and that meaning that this is the beginning of the end, seems like such a realistic thing to have happen because I've lived out being the quote unquote other people that it happens to. It's like if I let my guard down and just think it's likely nothing, I don't have the chance to prepare myself mentally. And I don't want to live out the I knew it, I shouldn't have let my guard down reality. It's easier for me to handle this if everything ends up being just fine and I was prepared mentally for the worst, rather than letting it go and pretending like everything is fine and being sidelined by cancer. So I wrote this prior to my session on Monday, and now it's interesting. It's like it's realizing that I've been living in so much fear. Like, everything, any little pain or, lump or headache or anything, like I would on some level go to, oh my gosh, is this it? Like, because it could be, right? Um, and gosh, being able to let that go on some level uh, is so freeing and so exciting to know that I can move forward and hold that, yes, we're all human. We all, something happens to all of us. None of us are getting out of here alive. But I don't have to live life that way. And it's been really, really amazing to kind of have that shift, that mindset shift. So, and in the other hand, I hold that God is ultimately in charge. My worrying about anything is futile. It just stresses me out, distracts me from the things that really matter right now. And the irony is that it takes away from my sleep and overall health, which doesn't help any situation, whether I have cancer or not, or any other sickness or disease. It's just exacerbating the situation. When I turned 37, so I'm 46 now, I just turned 46, so almost 10 years ago, that's the age that my mom was when she died. I was convinced that I had heart problems. And like, it's so funny to say out loud, but there's an underlying time clock that I wasn't aware of. My body knew when I was turning 37. And my body knew that that's when my mom had died. And that's just kind of like my understanding is that moms die at 37. So I almost went to the ER a few times because I thought I had a pain in my chest. And I didn't even realize the correlation of my age, as I mentioned, with this happening. I finally put two and two together and realized that subconsciously in my world, moms die when they get to 37. I was just looking for the thing that was going to take me out. Overall, I was so healthy, no signs of cancer. So it must be a heart issue that does it. So I know it's crazy. Like, I remember telling my husband, like, my heart's racing. And now that I look back on that, I mean, I wasn't always have been incredibly healthy. It's like there was nothing else going on with my body. And it was this anxiety that I subconsciously knew I was turning 37 and that must be it. So my body, my brain was looking for something to latch onto, and this anxiety of this is it. And oh man, it's really crazy. It was really surreal when I realized that I was 37 and that's how old my mom was when she passed. And just the interesting things that your brain and body do without you realizing it when you've been through something like that. I'm so thankful to be married to a man that listens to me, that tells me that he understands what I'm going through and why I am scared of the things that I am scared of. He doesn't judge me or dismiss my feelings and tell me that I'm crazy, which I feel that I am sometimes. I feel that I am a lot. I recognize this. I'm like, I know I sound crazy. And he's like, I get it. I understand. And oh man, that helps. So if you know someone that's going through these things, just listen to them and understand. Even if you don't understand, just know that telling people they're crazy isn't helpful. Although they may be, and not in the moment, but removed from that moment, you may sit down and talk with them and help them kind of take a step back and have a little clarity. So anyways, there's two little voices in my head. One says, this is it, to a rash or a lump or a pain or exhaustion, etc. And the other says, there's no way you're so healthy. You get to live to an old age. And that's what everything past 37 has been to me. This gift of more time that I get with my husband and children. Underneath it all, I celebrate gray hairs, wrinkles, and wild hormonal fluctuations because it means that I'm still here. I get to experience all the crazy things that come along with growing old. If I could just stop being so worried and truly enjoy it all, that would be amazing. And I can't tell you guys how uncomfortable this is because I'm not someone that shares her emotions, although I've been getting more and more used to it because of the sessions that I've been doing with Stacey and Justin, because we're going through the hard stuff and we go right through it. They don't let me shut down and stop. So, but it, like, I was listening to a podcast that a friend sent me, with Anderson Cooper and Stephen Colbert, talking. They've both been through significant loss of parents and family, and like they were talking about what a gift that tragedy has been to them as they continue to live. And it's crazy. It's hard to, like, when I realized it, it's hard to say that I'm thankful for what happened, but on some level I am. I mean, I look forward to growing old. I want to so desperately, and it's exciting, as frustrating as it is, all the changes. But I'm learning about it, and that's why I'm here, is to share these things with you. Of, you know, your body doesn't work the way it used to. You don't recover the way you used to. And so what does that mean? How do we move forward? How do we continue to be active, continue to live our lives, continue to do all the things that we want to do, and do it well? And so, gosh, I'm just, I'm so grateful to be here and to be able to learn about these things so that I can share them with you and we can walk this journey together and grow old together and get the wrinkles and the gray hairs and the crazy stories and the wild sleep and the libido changes and all the crazy things that come along with it. I encourage you to love yourself through this and don't look at it as a negative thing. I mean, it's frustrating. I'm not going to tell you that it doesn't suck sometimes, because it absolutely does. But when you take a step back and look at the big picture, man, it's a joy and a blessing. Maybe not a joy. It's a blessing and something to embrace and look forward to. Like, what is next? What's the next change going to be? So anyways, I just wanted to share that. It's something that was on my heart. I think God was whispering to me that it's something that I should open up about, get uncomfortable, share with you. And hopefully if one person, I don't know how many people are going to hear this, but if one person hears it and it helps you, then that's what this was meant to do. So I look forward to more fitness tips, nutrition, mindset, recovery, mobility, pelvic floor, all the things. I've got a lot in store, and I'm really excited to start sharing all of this with all of you. So thank you so much. This is Coach Kiele with Fitter After 40, and I'll see you in the next one.